Happy Sunday, beauties, and welcome to Beauty and Me with Tina. Today's episode, Sip with Purpose, features the visionary Renee, the mastermind behind Dynamic Mobile Bar. She's sharing her journey of crafting conscientious beverages that nourish both body and soul, while blending creativity, purpose, and sustainability. Plus, she reveals how she maintains balance in her fast-paced entrepreneurial life. You won't want to miss this refreshing and inspiring conversation. Let's dive in. Hi, beauties. Welcome back after these commercials. I have a super special guest here, Renee. She is from the Optimal Experience for all my bar lovers. This is a person that you want to make sure that you do not want to miss. You want to stay. She's coming on next. I'm about to bring her on, so don't change your channels. I hope you already got your snacks and ready to go. Renee, welcome to the show.
Hello, hi Tina.
How are you?
I'm so good, so good. How are you?
I am doing good. I'm doing good. I am so happy to have you on the show. I'm excited for everyone to find out about you, how they can reach you, all the good stuff. So let's get started. You're known for the innovative approach of mobile bartending with a focus on conscientious beverages. What inspired you to start your business?
Okay, so I started my business back in 2019. And what inspired me was I was always interested like in food and beverage since I was a young kid. And like back in 2016, I became a brand ambassador for beverage and liquor brands. And so I learned so much about like different beverages and how they were created and curated, and it really sparked my interest. And so in 2018, I actually went to bartending school, got my license, and then everything just took off from there. And for a year, I did like event bartending solely, and I was like, you know what, this is exactly what I wanted to do. And in 2019, I started my business. Mhm.
Awesome. So just your love, just call you a foodie because I'm a foodie too. So that can
Yes.
that can lead to some amazing things. So running a business, especially in hospitality space, can be demanding. How do you personally define self-care and what role does it play in your daily life?
Okay, so how I define self care is basically like making time to actually like truly care for yourself, whether it be mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And for me, it's very important because if I know that you may not have known this, and I didn't say this, but I've always been into health and wellness since I was a
Okay.
little girl. From as young as I can remember, like around age 11, consciously stopped drinking soda because I was like, you know what, I don't want to get acne and stuff like that. My parents were like, well, you don't drink soda. And that's very like that's very mature, like for a
Right.
50-year-old, and I was drinking water. I was always active, and I was very interested in how like health correlated with beauty. And so as far as like health and wellness, and which excuse me, as far as health and wellness and like self-care being a part of that, that's actually like my number one priority. So in the beginning, like when I first started my business, I allowed my business to run me. So I was
Mm,
just, yeah, like I was putting all of my energy and time into building this business, which is very necessary.
right.
I think, like in the beginning, you really have to like be on it, get that ball rolling,
Right.
really get the momentum started, put the reps in, right? But there was a season where I was like, you know what, I need to slow down and really like take care of myself, get back to like the self-care I was doing, like taking my baths and things like that. Like just caring for myself, making sure I'm eating properly and not just being on the go and eating out all the time and stuff like that.
Right. That makes a
Making
difference.
sure, yeah, like making sure that I'm working out and just doing the things that I was doing prior to starting my company. So it's very, very, very important to me.
I love that. And you said it because I was there. I was one of those starting my business where I'm like, oh, okay, I could do this. I don't need sleep. I don't need food. I don't need to drink any water. I don't need to take care of myself until you have that burnout. And then all of a sudden you're like, what did I do wrong? And then having to look back, you're like, oh, well, I forgot that my business needs me to run it. So instead of me letting it run me, let me get myself together and run it. So I completely understand that. And that leads me into my next question. With all the energy that goes into crafting an experience for others, how do you ensure that you don't pour from an empty cup?
Okay. Well, for me, I will say naturally I am a very like energetic person. I always I've always had like so much energy, which is why, like bartending and especially like event bartending and having to
Right.
like kind of like perform. Another fun fact about me is for as long as I can remember, since like two, I've always like performed, I've always like danced. I was in cheerleading, the step team, I was on like a catwalk classic modeling team and everything like that. So I was always like performing on stage. So I think um it feels like it's a part of me and it comes to me naturally to just
Right.
know like how to like use my energy wisely, if that makes sense. Kind of like an
Yes.
athlete, so me actually being a bartender and being in this field is not far-fetched. It is a part of my skill, it is a part of my personality, it is a part of my strength. So I did choose wisely, and I can handle the job. But to make sure that I'm not pouring from an empty cup is I'm not perfect. I'm still, like a work in progress, but
Right.
I actually, like I said, I take time for myself. Like, I'm so grateful that I did create like a life for myself where I can slow down if I need to,
Right.
and I'll do that responsibly. So I've gotten really good at it. So I can kind of tell like when I'm running low on energy and I'm on the brink of burnout, I'll responsibly take care of things and kind of try to like prep ahead of time so I can make time to responsibly slow down. So that's what I do. Like I slow down and I listen to my body, I listen to myself, and I give in to what I need. That's what
That
I do.
is a big, big, big. Oh my goodness, that's so big. It's to listen to your body, listen to yourself. Don't ignore the signs because that can create burnout and a major one at that way. It have you down for a couple weeks or a couple months, depending on how bad it is.
Exactly.
So, and that,
Mhm.
what are but before I get to that, you were talking about the burnouts. Have you ever faced any moments of exhaustion, and how did you navigate through them? Like, have before it became like, I know this is it. How did you begin to realize there was a sign of, okay, I have a burnout coming?
Um, when I notice like I'm overly stressed. So when I'm overly stressed, I notice that I do not sleep well. Like I'll have symptoms of insomnia. Like I'll be up, my brain will be racing.
Mhm.
Um, And like I said, my energy is always high. I'm not like super low on energy. It's more so how I feel inside, like stress wise.
Right.
Stress will really like kick in, and my brain will really like just keep going like on overdrive. And I'm like, okay, I need to slow down. I need to take a second for myself. Um, Sometimes I cry. Sometimes, yeah, I gotta cry
I've
because
been there.
I'm a very emotional person. I will say that. And so if I feel it, I will cry. So
Oh
I
yeah.
sometimes I have to cry to just let it out, and I'll like take a moment, look at my schedule, and I'll be like, okay, how can I move some things around so that I can give myself a good, at least 2 days to like take it slower.
Right.
So I'll look at my schedule, see what I can do, and then I might just offset some tasks for like the next 2 to 3 days, and I'll put more self-care in there. So there'll
Okay.
be, me taking, like I said, I love like my baths. I get really extravagant with my oils
Oh
and my
yeah.
music, and the candles. I'll take a nice bath. I'll sleep in a little longer, make sure I'm hydrating myself a little more, just taking a lot more care of myself and being gentle and kind to myself as well. I had to learn not to beat myself up about it because I'm a perfectionist, and I can't get in my head. Like I said, my head will go, like my mind will go crazy, and then I'll start beating myself like, why you can't keep doing this? Like, girl, you supposed to hit this deadline, you gotta do this. But I've learned like I have to be like a part of it. Part of self care is the mental care as well. So just taking the time to care for myself and actually be my friend instead of my enemy, and talk love and greatness, and just be kind to myself, and realize that I'm still a human at the end
That
of the
is so important is that self-talk. That self-talk can either make you or break you. That is a huge, huge. You have to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to make sure that you let yourself know it's okay to take a break. It's okay to unwind. It's okay to take 2 or 3 days off. I'm like, you know what? I know I had this book, but I do apologize. I need a mental day or two or three, depending.
Exactly.
Depending on the situation. So I completely understand. And the perfectionism is another thing that I think a lot of us deal with. And we have to learn to realize life isn't perfect. No one is perfect. Like we try to play like everything is cool and hunky dory, but I think it helps everyone else, especially when they realize that everyone else understands that perfect doesn't exist. Close to it does, but perfect doesn't exist. And it's okay if you fumble. It's okay if you make a mistake. It's okay if you have to take a break. So I completely, completely agree with that. Because as you were talking, I'm like, yeah, that's me. Yep, that's me too. I'm right there with you. And I've spoken to a lot of ladies that go through the same exact thing. So you here sharing your story is helping someone else that's gone through the same thing, and they're trying to figure out how to handle it. What do they need to do or try to get through that process? So, since you're big on self care, what are some non negotiables that you have to do to stay grounded and balanced?
Okay, so some non-negotiables for me is, and I started this in like 2016. I have to break my fast with a smoothie. I
Okay.
cannot go. I cannot do nothing else without my smoothie. So it's
Okay.
funny because like when I'm traveling or something, I'll actually bring my blender or my smoothie.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, like it's become like a part of me. Like cause I'll intermittent fast until like noon. So like the first thing I have, it has to be a smoothie. If I eat a big breakfast, I'll be tired and then I'll have to take a nap. So it's crazy. So that's one of my non-negotiables. It's funny. I know it's funny, right? I'm trying to think. What is another non-negotiable for me? I have to prioritize my sleep. I have to
Yeah.
prioritize sleep because, like I said before, I have experienced like symptoms of insomnia, especially like when I'm really stressed. So prioritizing my sleep is very, very, very important to me. Very important to me. And another non-negotiable for me is making sure the people I keep around me is actually good for me. You know what I mean? So that's very important for me, and that's a non-negotiable. You have to be good for me as I am good for you. So
I
yeah.
love that. I that that is a big thing, especially now for 2025. I think people are realizing whether it's friends, family, coworkers, whoever, you have to set that boundary. If they're not good for your mental, your wellness, they can't be around. You can still love them. Don't get me wrong. You just gonna have to love them from a distance, for your better health. That is very, very important. I think a lot more people are beginning to realize how important it really is.
Mhm.
So, as far as the simplicity of your self-care routine, does minimalism influence your lifestyle and or your business philosophy?
Absolutely. Minimalism definitely influences like how I operate and how I navigate in the world. Minimalism is very dear to me because it's also very spiritual for me. For me, it means like letting go of things that no longer serve me, whether it being an item physically, whether it being a person, or whether it being like energetically or emotionally. Just letting go of things that no longer serve me and knowing not to hold on to things,
Right.
that's for me. Because I believe like everything carries energy, whether we believe it or not. Everything in our home is speaking to us energetically, whether you believe it or not.
Yes.
And that influences how you think, how you feel on a day-to-day basis, which influences how you live your life. So if I'm looking around and, like, for instance, say I have something that I kept from an ex that was abusive or something, right? And it could
Okay.
be something as small as a paper clip, right? Like a
Right.
unique little paper clip. And you walk past it every day, you see it on your desk every day, but you don't know like how that's registering in your brain subconsciously or how that could be affecting you. So I make it a point to like every season I always like scan everything in my environment for things that I need to give away or throw away. And when I do purchase things, it is for a reason. So maybe it could be a broom, right?
Right.
So if I purchase a broom, a new broom, that old one has to leave, you
Right.
know, because I do not like my space to be cluttered. I like things to be clean, organized, and it's very good because it helps me with my creativity as a creative. Um, and it helps me like spiritually and just how I feel on a day-to-day basis. And so in my business, I make it a point to use that same philosophy when it comes to what it is that I'm doing, what I'm focusing on. I try to simplify my business processes, my services, what it is that I'm doing, so I'm not overcomplicating myself or overwhelming myself with busy tasks, and making sure I'm very intentional with how I operate my company and how I serve.
I love that. That is perfect, to say the least, because I never understood when I was younger. Like I'm very OCD about things and very precise, but I'm very sentimental with things too. And I never understood that if I'm doing spring cleaning and I start removing stuff, how much better I feel. Like I love it, but I'm like, okay, there's a reason I need to get rid of this. And as I've gotten older now, I've begun to realize that certain things, even if they are given at the time, no longer serve their purpose. So it's time for them to move on, which
Hey,
you'll be surprised how well it makes you feel after.
exactly. I love it. I love throwing stuff away. It's funny. I love
Yeah.
throwing stuff away. It's kind of like a joke in my house, but yeah, I love throwing stuff away. I just love like keeping my space clear
Right.
so I can operate and function properly.
It makes it easier. My husband laughed at me because he's like, "You are so OCD." Like he's like, "I would help you clean, but I know you're gonna go behind me and change it around." I'm like, "Yeah." Yep, just a little bit. It's like it's not intentional. He understands that as long as we've been together, that it's not intentional. It's just me and how I like particular things. I can always tell when something's out of space, out of where it's supposed to be. I can always tell if something's missing, someone touched something. So I completely understand it, but it makes you feel better and it makes it easier to do what you need to do. So that is awesome.
The Optimal Experience is a luxury mobile bar company. We provide beverage planning, beverage catering, and certified event bartenders for weddings and events. Need liquor liability insurance? No problem, we got you covered. So book your custom beverage experience today.
DeAndre Nair artistry is just what you're looking for. From everyday glam to a gorgeous bridal look and everything in between. DeAndre Nair artistry is here to give you the edge you need to stand out from the crowd. DeAndre Nair has been crafting looks for a long time. She loves helping people feel confident in their skin and showing them how amazing they really are. Book your glam spot today at deandrenair.as.me or visit her on Instagram at deandrenair_artistry. $500 for a single TV ad that disappears in seconds? That's it? What if you could get more? More exposure, more reach, more impact. With Beauty and Me with Tina, your brand doesn't just show up, it shines.
Hi, Jeans. We're here at Six Shop and Peak in Atlanta. I am here with the wonderful Maria. She has some amazing pictures over here.
Don't waste your budget. Invest in lasting impact. This week's self-care product of the week is Releasing My Trauma, The Root of Self-Sabotage by Lejeune Singleton. A powerful guide to healing, growth, and breaking free from self-doubt. Available now at Amazon, Walmart, and Barnes & Noble. Start your journey to transformation.
Hey, Coach Lejeune here. Let's talk about self-care. Setting boundaries for yourself. When you know enough is enough when it comes to what you're eating, what you're drinking, setting boundaries of getting enough rest. Very important. Also, giving yourself compassion. Rome wasn't built in one day, so we don't have to put everything in and complete everything that's on our to-do list and on our calendar and schedule in one day. It's not going to happen, and it's okay. Hey, give yourself some compassion on that. It is quite all right. Secondly, making time for ourselves. That's something we don't do because especially if you're a wife, you're a mother, you got a business, you have a demanding job, making time for yourself. It doesn't have to be big. It can be a couple of minutes. It can be 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, all the way to 60 minutes, whatever you can give yourself. It is important to breathe, to move, not just hold it in, because we as women, we hold in so much in our chest and in our stomach area. So making time just to breathe for that stillness is so essential and necessary. Nutrition wise, that is a form of self-care. What you put in your body, because we are what we eat, and it is so necessary to make sure we are putting in some healthy foods and nutrition and staying hydrated and getting enough sleep. All parts of self-care, all parts of showing up for ourselves. Listening to that intuition that's telling us, hey, something isn't right, and being willing to let go. That is a big part of self-care because we try to hold on to things we don't want to let go. That can be relationships. If you've been with somebody for so long, you don't want to start over. You don't want to find new friends, but sometimes letting go is essential, and it doesn't always have to be people. It can be things. It can be situations. It can be anything. Being okay with letting go, because that's a form of self-care. Anything that's causing you stress, worry, anxiety, and depression, it's time to let it go. It's time to cut it loose because it is not detrimental to your health, holding on to things that don't help you and move you forward. So that is all forms of self-care, showing up for you, loving you, putting you first, and listening to your body. Stop ignoring yourself because that is not a form of self-care. Self-care is listening to your body when your body says, I'm tired, when your body says, I'm thirsty, when your body says, enough is enough, and shutting off and turning it off and being in that stillness. And that is absolutely okay because your body, I'm telling you, will shut down if you don't. So listen to your body. Stop ignoring it. Go to the doctor. If you have not been feeling well past 3 days, sometimes even in that second day, if you're not feeling great, go to the doctor. Find out in the beginning stages, because so many people wait so long till they get to stage 3 and 4 and 5. They found out, hey, it's too late. Let's go day 2 and 3. If you're not feeling great, go to the doctor and figure out what's going on so you can get the help you need, so you can feel better. That's a form of self-care. Showing up for you, setting boundaries for you, loving you are all forms of self-care, and treating yourself good because you deserve the best. You are enough and you are worthy. So you are loved. So remember that. Until next time, this is Coach Lejeune. Tips on self-care of showing up for you.
We set out on a journey, not just to make tea, but to create moments of peace in a chaotic world. Carrie Kumba was born from one simple truth. Wellness is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Every blend we craft, every leaf we choose, we do it with intention to help you slow down, to soothe the stress, to create moments of home, to center. Because self-care isn't selfish. It's the love you pour into yourself so that you can continue to pour into others. It's the quiet sips, the deep breaths, the space to simply just be. This is more than tea. This is restoration. This is Carrie Kumba. Discover your blend at carriekumba.com.
Thank you for tuning in, beauties. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Sip with Purpose and gained inspiration from our self-care segment, Radiant Reflections with Lejeune Singleton. Remember, self-care and mindful living go hand in hand. Stay radiant, stay empowered, and we'll see you next time on Beauty and Me with Tina. Tune in next Sunday at 8 p.m. for Sip with Purpose Continued on Beauty and Me with Tina. The conversation continues with Renee as she dives deeper into how her mobile bar business promotes wellness through every sip. Learn how she balances creative mixology, self-care, and holistic living in both her personal life and business. Don't miss this inspiring episode on living with intention and purpose. See you there.